In today's Line 6 tutorial, I'm going to be walking you through how I build my presets. A lot of what you're going to see today, can be adjusted to however you want, but I'm just going to walk through what I would do for the type of music that I play. So I'm going to jump into a new preset down here. Just double click that. You're going to have a new window. I always start with my amp and my cab. I want to get a good sound just out of the amp and the cab, and then I'll start adding my guitar pedals. So right now it's on the Fender, and I'm going to actually change this to the AC30, which is what this guy is down here. Double click on that guy. Let's see what he sounds like. Doesn't sound too bad off the bat. I think I'm gonna lower the treble just a bit. Maybe even lower the drive. I want something super clean with just a little bit of drive. It's something to be aware of too, is we only have 4 block spaces. When it comes to snapshots, it's not so much of an issue, but when you're just doing a preset and you're gonna use the stomp mode, or you treat it like it's a traditional pedal board, you're pretty much only having 4 pedals if that's the route you go. I did a video on snapshots. Be sure to check that out. I'll include those in the description below. Yeah, that sounds good. What I like to look for is I like drive. I don't like too much treble, but I do enjoy having some mids in the bass. I don't want it to sound tinny or sound like a metal zone. Trash can is the best way I can describe that. I like to have some depth in there, so I'm just gonna leave that. Let's jump over to the cab. I love the 2x2 or 2x12, Bluebell cab. It's just something, a cab that I love to have. Really enjoy the sound. Let's see what mic. I actually like the one that it was on to begin with. I don't mess too much with the cab and all the settings. Sometimes I'll change the mic and then do the low cut and high cut, but honestly, I'm pretty happy with this with just my amp and my cab. So let's go over here. We're gonna add a drive. I usually leave the amps and the pedals in their spots. I usually put my drive up front and then put my wet effects. And what I mean by wet is either your delay or reverb. I'll put that after everything. Just enjoy the way it sounds. Again, you can do whatever you want. Experiment around with it. You can play around with it. There's a few go-to pedals that I like. I enjoy the Kinky Boost, the Minotaur, the Air Apparent, and the Compulsive Drive, which is what I used to have on my old board, was the OCD pedal, which is what the Compulsive. I'm gonna play around with just the boost here. Yeah. So I'm gonna cycle it on and off so you can hear it. So this is with it on. This is with it off. It on. And for me, I'm gonna put the boost on. I like the boost a little bit more, but I'm also gonna lower the gain. And I might actually come back to my amp and just add a little bit more drive. And I'm going to lower this just a bit. I want them to be close, but I want this overdrive to just have a little bit more punch to it. Yeah, I like that. Also, something to be aware of too is if you hover over any of the pedals, you're gonna see that it says none right now. Even the amp says none. If you click on that little drop down, you're gonna get the assign button, and these buttons right here are what you're gonna want to focus on, because if you look at your actual Line 6 Podgo pedal, these are your foot switches. So this is the bottom left switch, which when you look at your pedal should be the button that has the arrow pointing down, and then above it this is the arrow pointing up, and then this would be A, B, C, and D. When you do a preset and you go into stomp mode, this is going to assign where you want that pedal to be. So for me, I want the drive to be on my bottom left, and I'm building this based on how my board was before I got the Podgo. So now that it says FS4, or when you look at your Podgo pedal, it's going to be the bottom left foot switch, which is the arrow pointing down. Whenever I click that on and off, and you can even see it on my Podgo edit software, I'm enabling it, I'm turning it on and off. So it acts as if it's a real pedal board. So this is with it off. So it's cool, fun. You can put pedals wherever you want and all that fun stuff. You can even assign your amp to a foot switch. You could turn the amp off. I don't know, play around with it, have fun with it. I like how that sounds. I'm going to go ahead and put, let's play around. I like to have a compressor. It just makes everything sound real even. I don't mess around too much with the settings. Again, that's just something you got to play with, mess around with. I do like to lower my mix. 70 is usually a good starting point for me. And what that's going to do, a compressor is going to keep everything for the most part at a consistent volume. You want to be careful with it too, because if you have it at 100 and then you want to play softer stuff, it's going to definitely not come across as soft because you have your mix at 100, and it's going to make everything sound even. So if you play really soft, it's going to sound loud. If you play really loud, it's still going to be the same volume. Wherever you put that in the chain, it's totally up to you. I'm going to throw it back here, and I'm going to assign this guy to, let's throw it at S1. And as you can tell, this one's already at S1 too. This is my my EQ. I'm going to throw him probably at F3. And again, you can put it wherever you want, just wherever it makes more sense for your mind to process everything. Let's go over to, I'm not going to worry about the EQ. I usually just toss that on and make very slight adjustments, if any. I'm usually pretty happy with how it sounds. I'll leave it on though so you can hear it. I'm going to turn it off actually. Let's go into our next pedal. I'm going to work with, let's put a delay. No, let's do a reverb. Reverb will be good. You can pick any one. I'm just going to pick the this one right here. I can't say I've messed with this one. All right, so it's a little bit much for my taste. I'm going to lower the mix. Yeah, and you can hear it's slightly there. Depending on what you're doing with reverb, I'm just going to do a simple reverb. I don't want it to like be obvious that there's reverb, but I also want it to add some texture to it. And you can hear how it's trailing off. Cool. I'm happy with that. You can play around with it too. I always encourage you to turn your trails on. What this is going to do is if you have it on and you're playing and then you want to turn that specific foot switch off, it's going to allow the sound to trail off. It's not going to do an immediate cut, which can sound kind of nasty at times. Lastly, I'm going to add a delay. I love the simple delay. There's so many delays to pick from, but man, I just love the simple. I always turn the scale down. I don't like messing around with that. Let's change this to quarter. So you can change whether it's in milliseconds or actual time signatures for whatever works for you. I like to mess with the quarter. I do lower the mix a little bit so it's not so obvious what's happening. That sounds cool. I'm going to assign this guy to 5 and this one to 6. Yeah, so on my board, it's really easy. I can just stomp on the foot switch, turn my reverb off if I want. Delay. Now listening back, I'm probably going to lower my drive on my amp because now there's not a whole lot of difference now that I'm adding all these things. Again, this is a process. You're going to play around with stuff. When you add one pedal and you get a cool sound how you like, and then you start adding other pedals, you're going to notice that the first pedal you added is going to sound a little different, and then you just got to play around with it. Again, what I try to shoot for with my presets is something that doesn't have a whole lot of treble. I don't want it to be piercing, but I also want to have some good mids and some good bass in there so it sounds full. Because for the most part, where I work in the music I do, I usually just have one guitar player. So I want it to help fill in that space with the band and stuff, and it's usually me playing guitar. So let's look a little bit more. Let's fine tune some stuff here. All right, so this is with the reverb and delay on, but my drive off. I'm gonna lower it, my amp drive just a little bit more, maybe to 3. Sweet. Let's see what it sounds like now with my drive on. There you go. I like that. That's cool. So that is about as many blocks as we can add. We can only have 4, which can be kind of annoying at times. You got to play around with it. I've also done a video that I'll put in the description of not actually needing a whole lot of drive pedals, if any, because there's some amplifiers that you can use that have amazing drive. So you can get away with just using the drive that's in your amp, which would eliminate having this guy. And you could then just fill that spot where I have the boost with, another pedal, another delay, another chorus, another whatever you want. Snapshots are great too, because you can create a preset and then you can have 4 snapshots within a preset. And then you can actually go into each pedal and tell each snapshot what setting you want. So even though you have 1 drive, 1 reverb, and 1 delay, you can have like snapshot 1 have just a little bit of drive and a little bit of delay. And then snapshot 2, you can boost the drive and then put like a dotted 1/8 note. And you're still using that same pedal that you have in your chain here. You're just allowing it to have different settings for each snapshot. I use Snapshot for everything I do because it honestly gives you more freedom to have different sounds. And you could just play around with so much more. But if you like the Stomp mode, which is going to be more like your traditional pedal board, this is your best bet. You can play around with it. There's a lot of factory presets over here on the left that you could play around with. You can pick one that you like, and then you can fine tune what they're doing. Or you can make your own like we did here. But yeah, that's how I get started with building my presets for the type of music I do. You guys may see this and be like, that's not the type of music I do, but hopefully it gives you a good start to start building presets that you want. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if you like the video, I would appreciate you to like it and even subscribe, because I love doing these videos. And we'll see you guys next time.